Senator Paul has indicated yes vote. Senator Burgess. Yes. Chairman Stack has indicated yes vote. Following Vice Chair Singleton.
Yes.
The bill with the amendments is released.
All right, let's entertain a motion on Senate Bill 4871 as amended. And I will second. Moved by Senator Brown, second by Vice Chair Singleton.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do roll call. I'll note again. We had the same two people that signed up on the previous bill, but we called them up, so they weren't present, but they're still listed as testify, as well as several other individuals and organizations. In support, no need to testify. On S4871, there are some amendments that have been presented, and I'll briefly describe those. The amendments to the bill would provide that a person is not eligible for relief under the bill. I should go back and just describe what the bill does in terms of synopsis. My apologies. So S4870 provides for an expungement process for certain individuals who are victims of abuse if convicted, and the conviction is substantially related to the abuse. So now with respect to the amendments that have been presented, it would provide that a person is not eligible for the expungement relief under the bill if the court determines that granting that expungement is not in the interest of justice, or that the person was a primary aggressor in the domestic violence incident, or the person has previously filed an expungement petition under the bill's provisions. Secondly, the amendments would provide that relief may be granted if the domestic violence or abuse was a contributing factor to the person's commission of an offense rather than the conviction itself. A third change to the amendments would make the bill effective 9 months following its enactment of the companion bill, which we just did, S4870. The amendments would also authorize the Administrative Office of the Courts and the Division of State Police in the Department of Law and Public Safety to take anticipatory action necessary to implement the provisions of the bill based upon its delayed effective date. And then lastly, the amendments will also make some technical changes.
All right, I think we had a motion on the bill from Senator Lagana. I will second it. We could do a roll call on that.
Roll call on S4871 with the amendments that have been presented. Senator Testa. No. Senator Corrado.
Yes.
Senator Bramnick.
Yes.
Senator Smith. Thank you. Senator Sarlo has indicated a yes vote. Senator Lagana. Senator Gopal has indicated a yes vote. Senator Burgess. Yes. Chairman Stack has indicated a yes vote. Vice Chair Singleton.
Yes.
The bill with the amendments is released.
All right. As we said, we're going to take testimony on all three of these next bills at the same time. We will still do 3 separate votes at the end. As I said, we're going to request kindly your participation and support in having a representative of each of the organizations who've signed up to testify. We're going to try and limit that testimony to about 3 or 4 minutes per person to avoid redundancy of conversation. But it is our hope that we will be able to expeditiously get through that and get to the part where we get a chance to vote on these 3 very important bills. So we're going to, as we said, we'll take testimony all at the same time. David, who Office of Legislative Services, is going to call up the individuals to speak. We may actually, David, let's just do a panel so we can get them all, maybe 3 at a time to come up, and we'll go do it that way. So a little bit of patience. As you can imagine, there's a lot of slips here, so we just need to go through that. So if you'll give us just a click here, and we'll be ready to get going.
So in keeping with the idea that we're going to discuss all 3 bills at once before taking individual votes on the bills, I will just read now the bills that are going to be under discussion. S5036, the, quote, Safe Communities Act requires the AG to develop certain model policies. Bill S5037 establishes, quote, the Privacy Protection Act, concerns the collection and sharing of certain personal information. And the third bill, S5038, would codify the AG directive, strengthening trust between law enforcement and immigration communities. With that, to begin our first panel, we have Deacon Omar Aguilar, representing Faith in New Jersey, Jason Ajaki, representing Union 1199 SEIU, and third, we have Sarah Blaine, representing the New Jersey Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. Do we have one or all 3 of those individuals? And with respect to the bills, you can just take your seat and you'll be able to testify. We don't swear in people under oath for giving the testimony on the bills. I can call another person. Yeah, we got Sarah. I believe Jason Ajaki.
Is Jason with us? Is Jason with us?
Oh,
right, let's just call some-
they're trying to reach him. So
We'll call some. Well, actually, let's just start with these
start
two
with those
folks.
two, okay.
Yep.
Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, I'm subbing in for Senator Sarlo for the remaining portion of the meeting.
Sarah,
Thank you so much, Senator Singleton, members of the committee. It's great to be here today. I'm excited to see that some immigrant protection bills are up, and we really appreciate your time and your work on the bills. I'm Sarah Blaine. I am the lead organizer of the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism here in New Jersey. We organize our 40-something congregations across New Jersey, along with anyone else who shares our values, to take action for public policy that creates a more whole, just, and peaceful world. As many of you should have seen, it hit all of your emails last night, we put together a clergy letter signed by 70 rabbis and cantors from across New Jersey. I just did a quick back-of-the-envelope look. I believe 29 of them represent or from congregations that are physically located in this committee's districts. Specifically, I do want to note a couple of things. One, these clergy all had to really think when they signed that letter, because they live with the memory of what happened at Tree of Life Synagogue, which was attacked specifically because it had run an immigrant support Shabbat. So they were thinking of that when they signed this letter, and yet, as Rabbi Prosnit from Westfield wrote in testimony he prepared for Monday, our people's history as immigrants and refugees gives us a deep moral memory. We know what it means to seek safety, opportunity, and dignity. That history compels us to stand with immigrants today and to ensure that they are treated with humanity, fairness, and respect. Specifically, our clergy care about the entire bill package, but in particular, the Safe Communities Act, because so many of them serve in buildings that also serve immigrant communities in all sorts of ways. For example, in New Brunswick, the Ida Kushner Central Jersey Diaper Bank program runs out of one of our synagogues. In Westfield, something called the Fun Club, which provides all sorts of integration services for refugees and immigrants, runs in our congregation there. Our congregations across the state host other faith communities that also worship in their spaces. And we run early childhood education centers across the state that serve both Jewish and non-Jewish children, including immigrant children and their families. For all of these reasons, we urge you to move this set of bills, this bill package, out of committee and to the full floor for a final vote. We appreciate your time. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll let the whole panel speak, and then if members have questions, we'll ask them. Deacon, if you wouldn't go next, sir.
Thank you.
Sarah, can you clutch your button off? Thank you.
Thank you. So good afternoon. Thank you for having me today. My name is Omar Aguilar. I am a permanent deacon with the Diocese of Camden. I serve the community of believers at Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish Shrine in Lindenwood, New Jersey, a multiracial, a multi-ethnic, multilingual community of people who have been born and raised in the United States, who have come to the United States from other places long ago, and as well as recent arrivals. I am also here, and I'm speaking on behalf of Faith in New Jersey, a faith-based community, power-building community with a presence in all 21 counties of New Jersey, with members including members of the Christian faith, Jewish faith, Muslim faith, as well as people of other values that we share in common. The experience across New Jersey, as far as Faith in New Jersey is concerned, has been one that deprives not only the immigrant community, but citizens as a whole of the freedom to live their lives as they usually have up until these circumstances that we're living through now. As you may know, there are many mixed families in both in our parish as well as in our organization. And by mixed, I don't mean Irish and Italian or black or white. I mean people with different degrees of immigration statuses living under one roof, from citizen to pending normalization status. These people in general are reporting a fear of living their lives in a normal way. They are afraid to going out to work because even though the person may not be subject, the persons at home may not be subject to detention, the person at work may be. They are afraid to take their children to school. They are afraid to even go to the grocery store or to seek medical attention when they are sick. This is the reality that's being reported. And so we believe, and that is why I am here asking you to do whatever you can in support of the passage of the strongest versions of Bills A6308, A6309, and A63110. Now, I'm here specifically to lift up A6308, and I just wanted to say, in addition to these things that I just mentioned before, I would also like you to take into account the recent events yesterday in the Midwest, and ask you to consider what might have happened if this incident in which a U.S. citizen there was a homicide of a U.S. citizen committed at the hands of ICE. What would this shooting have looked like outside of a school? What would this shooting have looked like outside of a church?
Deacon Mash, if you could conclude your remarks, sir. If you don't mind.
For those reasons, I would ask you not to allow ourselves to be divided along race or ethnicity, but to stand in solidarity with the human dignity that we all share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deacon. Jason, please.
All right. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jason Ajike, the statewide political director at 1199 SCIU, United Healthcare Workers East. I submit this testimony on behalf of the thousands of frontline healthcare workers we represent across New Jersey. We strongly support S5037, S5036, and S5038 as a coordinated set of protections that strengthen trust in public institutions. So for us, S5037 really matters at the point of care. Healthcare workers depend on patients being able to share information honestly and completely. When patients are unsure how their personal information may be collected, retained, or shared, healthcare workers see the consequences immediately, and it ends up looking like misdiagnoses, incomplete treatment plans, and avoidable complications. So by limiting the collection of immigration-related information to what is strictly necessary to administer a program, restricting disclosure without consent or a judicial warrant, and clarifying that this information is not subject to public records requests, S5037 reduces fear at the clinical encounter and supports accurate, timely care. As it relates to S5036, this really matters at the point of access. Our members routinely care for patients whose conditions have worsened because they delayed seeking help. Emergency department nurses, long-term care staff, and community health care workers see firsthand how fear at essential service locations leads to higher acuity care, longer hospital stays, and greater strain on an already understaffed facility. Lastly, as it relates to S5038, which codifies the Immigrant Trust Directive, this really matters to our members at the point of continuity and recovery. As you know, care doesn't end at discharge, and successful recovery depends on follow-up appointments, referrals, and ongoing engagement with public systems. By limiting when law enforcement may inquire about immigration status, basically S5038 promotes predictability and due process across public systems that patients and workers alike rely on. So I'll close in saying that, you'll probably hear that these legislations provide new restrictions or complications or maybe even costs. My closing remarks are that where there's a will, there's a way. And I think in this moment, what we're seeing in this country, we should have the will to make this happen for our immigrant communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions or comments of this panel? Senator Bradman?
This legislation is broad in terms of directing the Attorney General to set policy. People who are constituents would have a specific question such as this. I can understand why there should be safe spaces. And I understand the fact that when I visited St. Joe's Hospital, the area where they were treating children was empty because children wouldn't come in for vaccines because of the fact they were worried about immigration. But is there any exception here for law enforcement in New Jersey when they would detect a violent criminal or someone's a threat to the community? Would that person also benefit from a safe space?
So I appreciate your question, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do think that, no, there's not an exception. I don't think that this legislation has anything to do with how criminals are processed in the system. However, I think our members as healthcare workers are care providers. They're there to deliver care. They're not there to inquire about a person's status or who they are, their background, and that's the basis of why our members do what they do.
And I commend you for that. My question is probably more broad because we're talking about three pieces of legislation. And the issue that I have is there may be circumstances where even local law enforcement wants to cooperate with the federal government, but this appears to be a blanket that would, in all circumstances, prevent communication. I would love to be part of legislation that would carve out areas where people would be safe for medical treatment. But I think we have to address the issue that people are concerned about, and that is the real criminal, the real threat, and that I don't see in any of this legislation giving an opportunity for local law enforcement to cooperate.
Yeah, I appreciate your question and remarks. I think that when we think about this legislation, I'm always thinking about consumer behavior. And I think that we find and we hear from our members all the time that families, everyday people, like you mentioned, are afraid of coming into these facilities to get the care that they need. And so I think that this legislation is a great first step in creating clarity where there is clearly a gray area currently.
Thank you for your brevity also. Let me say this. I think first step legislation is actually what I'm talking about. Like, allow some exceptions when local law enforcement believes they should be cooperating. Be very specific. Sometimes you have to crawl before you can walk. Now, I don't know if this legislation is going to be posted. And I also agree with the fact that some of the tactics being done nationally, where people who don't have criminal records are being arrested. So I'm sympathetic, but I still believe that this should be a joint effort with Republicans and Democrats to identify areas where we really want to protect immigrants who are undocumented, but not protect those who have broken law and a threat. Thank you.
Senator Bradman, if you don't mind, this is a great dialogue. So it's my understanding, the way I read this, law enforcement, local law enforcement retains the full authority to investigate crimes, make arrests, and protect public safety. I think what the bill is trying, the bills in general, especially 6310, I believe, what that bill is trying to do is ensure that local police are not diverted into federal civil immigration enforcement. trying to create very clear swim lanes. I don't think, and I would argue those who see it this way, none of these bills provide immunity from criminal prosecution. Criminal behavior remains fully subject to our state and federal laws. The thing what we're trying, I think, accomplish here, from my reading of this bill, and I will say in full candor, I got these bills late last night, so I was reading them kind of with a blurry eye or two. But it's my understanding it creates these clear swim lanes. And in turn would in fact increase trust and cooperation, I would argue, to help law enforcement be actually solve crimes and help offenders by doing it. So it doesn't allow someone who's committed a crime to escape whatever punishment is deemed. It just, in my opinion, creates these very clear swim lanes to say if it's a state crime, the local law enforcement, our state police will deal with that. If it's something about federal immigration, our federal law enforcement agencies will deal with that, and creates these very distinct paths in which those two things don't get blurred, because I think that's part of the challenge that some would argue is what these bills are trying to correct. But it is my understanding it does not provide immunity from any sort of criminal prosecution or criminal behavior.
I would completely agree it doesn't provide immunity. The question I would have, if the federal government was to reach out to local law enforcement and say, we have information to believe that this individual is a serious threat to society, he's located in this safe space, I can't determine from this bill whether law enforcement would be prevented from responding to that inquiry. Once again, if that was clear in the legislation that there would be an opportunity to cooperate under certain circumstances, to me, I'd be more likely to support the legislation.
Senator, point well taken. But again, it is my understanding from my read, in that instance, you're talking about a criminal matter. Federal law enforcement says I have credible information that XYZ individual has done a criminal violation. They in turn could remain in partnership with state and local law enforcement. What this bill tries to say is, we believe XYZ is not here legally, and we want to be able to go get that. That is the purview of the federal government in this role. We should not have our local law enforcement be a part of that part of the dialogue.
And
friends, come on, friends.
I'm just not sure whether the legislation is clear on that point, and happy to go back and review that. Thank you.
That's fair. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Can we call up 3 more folks to the dais?
Yes, and if you'd like, we could even add a 4th chair and have panels of 4 as well. Do 3? Okay. So the next panel of 3, we are going to have call up Adriana Alvarez, representing Make the Road, New Jersey, as well as Antara Nadir, Committee of Interns and Residents, SEIU. And then finally, Susie Dyer, Parker Family Health Clinic.
We'll start right here. If you wouldn't mind, can we get your name for the record before you begin?
Mi nombre es Adriana Álvarez. Represento a Mequero, New Jersey. Buenas tardes. Muchas gracias por atenderme. Estoy aquí, vivo en Elizabeth, llevo 27 años de vivir en New Jersey. Luché por las licencias de conducir durante muchos años. En el 19, esta ley que nos dio...
May I just stop you for just 1 second? Are you helping the translation?
Yes.
Can you do it in a little bit more real, like sentence by sentence, just so no one loses the gist of what's going on? That's okay? Please.
Oración por oración. Okay.
Gracias.
So her name is Adriana Alvarez. She has lived in New Jersey for the past 27 years, and she is a member of Make the Road, New Jersey.
Sí. Luché por muchos años por la licencia de conducir y en el 2019 esta ley
She has fought for the right of driver's licenses for all since 2019.
esta ley cambió mi vida y la vida de 2.3 millones de residentes de New Jersey.
This law has changed many lives, including those of 2.3 million residents of New Jersey.
La ley por la cual luché incluía protección de privacidad de datos, pero sí.
The law that I fought for included privacy to personal information.
Pero desde esta nueva administración de Trump, hemos descubierto que el Departamento de Motores y Vehículos de Nueva Jersey
However, ever since Trump took office for the second term, we have found out that the DMV is using personal information and cooperating with ICE.
hemos descubierto que Motores y Vehículos está proveyendo los datos de las personas que hemos sacado las licencias de conducir para ICE y esto los están utilizando para separar familias.
Using personal data of people ensures that helps ICE separate families.
Aprovecho esta oportunidad para dejarles claro que todos los datos de los conductores deben estar protegidos.
I am using this opportunity to urge you to protect people's privacy rights.
La función de Motores y Vehículos es garantizar la seguridad de que todas las carreteras y los datos de los usuarios deben utilizarse como medio, no deben utilizarse como medio para separar familias.
The DMV should not be helping separate families, and I am urging for the protection of their privacy.
Estoy aquí hoy para pedirles que apoyen la ley de protección de privacidad y el paquete de leyes más amplio que incluye la ley de comunidades seguras y la directiva que confiesa para inmigrantes. Gracias por la oportunidad.
I am here today to ask you to support the Data Privacy Protection Act and the broader legislative package that includes the Safe Communities Act and the Immigration Trust Directive. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify.
Right at 3 minutes, my girl. If you wouldn't mind, just state your name for the record when you're ready to speak.
Yeah, my name is Antara Nader, and I'm here on behalf of the Committee of Interns and Residents, SEIU. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify this afternoon. CIR represents over 40,000 resident physicians across the United States and roughly 1,500 here in New Jersey. On behalf of our members and their patients, I respectfully urge the committee to pass S5036, S5037, and S5038 without amendments. Current immigration enforcement is taking a devastating toll on the health of our communities. Across New Jersey, we see families sacrificing their own health due to the fear that a trip to the hospital could lead to being ripped away from their family and loved ones. Unfortunately, this fear is not unfounded. Currently, doctors cannot guarantee the basic safety of their patients when they seek care. In the absence of the model policies for healthcare facilities outlined in the Safe Communities Act, ICE can raid hospitals, preying upon community members when they are sick and at their most vulnerable. And without the data protections that would be extended to clinics and the Privacy Protection Act, patients must rightly worry that the personal information they give to a trusted provider could fall into the hands of DHS and put them on a path to detention or deportation. These threats strike at the heart of the promise that physicians make, to care for our communities and fundamentally to do no harm. Over the past year, CIR doctors have watched fear make people sicker as patients delay or avoid coming into the hospital altogether, even when they are seriously ill. Fear has made people forego essential preventative care like checkups, prenatal visits, and vaccinations. This endangers all of our communities by allowing illnesses to go untreated and spread. And it's not only patients, but also providers who would benefit from the passage of these bills. New Jersey's health system relies on immigrants, who make up over 1 in 4 of our nurses and half of our home health aides. With the shortage of healthcare workers our state is currently facing, we cannot afford for this workforce to question whether it is safe for them to come to work. To capture the public health value of the Safe Communities Act, it is crucial that model policies be made available to all hospitals in the state, both public and private. I also urge the committee to pass the Privacy Protection Act without carve-outs. New Jersey has a duty to protect the personal data of every patient in our state, and we simply cannot fulfill this duty without the protections outlined in this bill. Finally, I respectfully urge the passage of the bill that would codify and expand the Immigrant Trust Directive to restore trust in public institutions across our state, protect due process, and ensure the basic rights of all New Jerseyans. Yesterday, as some have raised already, we watched ICE shoot and kill an unarmed civilian. The immigration policy of the current federal administration increasingly endangers all of us, and I would encourage us here in New Jersey to channel the courage to stand up against it. On behalf of resident physicians across the state, I thank you for your time and leadership on this issue and respectfully urge the passage of these 3 bills without amendments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Susie.
Good afternoon. I'm Susie Dyer. I am the Executive Director of Parker Family Health Center in Red Bank, New Jersey. We provide free health care to uninsured residents of Monmouth County. We are not a federally qualified health center. The services we provide are completely free of charge. The Privacy Protection Act and the Safe Communities Act are inextricably intertwined, as people want their health care records protected, and they want to know that where they go to receive health care is a safe place. I can provide anecdotal information. People are afraid to sign up for public benefits like SNAP and Medicaid because they fear their information will be shared. This year alone, we have seen 1,000 more visits because of people's fear to sign up for Medicaid. Over the course of 25 years of providing free care, Parker has become a trusted medical provider in the community. We now see patients who fear coming and going to the clinic. We had a mother and daughter wait an additional 2 hours at the clinic because they were afraid to walk 2 blocks to their home. We provided them with a ride. We have patients who fear coming to the clinic because they are afraid to take a train or a bus. Again, in order for them to get essential health care, we are providing rides for them if they cannot contact a friend or a family member for that. This is not sustainable. Please protect the data of patients and the space in which we work. Patient privacy and designating clinics a safe place are fundamental. Thank you for the privilege of speaking, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, ladies. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
We'll call up our next group.
The next panel, we have Maria Darch Escuderos, representing the American Friends Service Committee, AFSC, accredited representative. Christian Moreno Rodriguez, El Pueblo Unito of Atlantic City. And finally, Lauren Herman, legal director with Make the Road, New Jersey.
Are we missing one of the folks? Lauren's not here? Okay, Okay. We'll put her in support. No need to testify, I believe.
Okay, then we can have this panel, Amy Caccialia, ACL. Okay.
Okay.
That's one more down. Katie Sastre for First Friends.
All right. Okay. All right, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. We'll start with you. If you give us your name, and we'll start with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maritza Darch Escuderos. I am a DOJ accredited representative with the Immigrants' Rights Program at the American Friends Service Committee in Newark, New Jersey. And my work focuses on representing immigrant survivors of crime, including survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and other various offenses. I work directly with survivors, their families, community organizations, and service providers across multiple counties in New Jersey. Every day, my work for the last 8 years places me at the intersection of immigration law, victim protection, and public safety. I am here today in strong support of S5037 because I see firsthand how fear of immigration enforcement affects whether survivors seek help, reports crimes, or cooperate with law enforcement. Survivors regularly ask me before they will call the police, go to court, or seek medical care, will ICE be there? That fear is paralyzing. It keeps people in dangerous situations and gives abusers more power. I want to share one example that illustrates the consequences of that fear. I recently received a referral involving a survivor of attempted murder in Middlesex County. The survivor had endured escalated violence, but did not seek help earlier. Authorities were only contacted because her child, believing their parent might die, used Siri to call 911 as a last resort. That is where the system is failing, when children become the emergency plan because adults are too afraid to seek help. S5037 directly addresses this problem by making it a law that local law enforcement cannot share civil immigration information with ICE. It protects survivors and community members from the fear that keeps them silent. It strengthens trust between immigrant communities and law enforcement. Trust that is essential for public safety and early intervention to prevent violence. From my professional experience, I can say this plainly. When survivors trust the system, they cooperate with it. If we are serious about public safety, protecting children, and preventing violence before it becomes fatal, we must ensure people can seek help without fear. For those reasons, I strongly support S5037, S5038, and S5036. Thank you all for your time and for your leadership.
Thank you, Maritza. Katie? Katie, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. My name is Katie Sastre. I'm the executive director of an organization called First Friends of New Jersey and New York. We're the people who support families and people who are impacted by immigration detention. So we're the ones that people call when someone's taken, when a parent disappears overnight, when ICE has broken someone's car window and detained them. We're the ones that get those calls. We see every single day the terror that ICE is inflicting on our communities. And as someone who was born and raised in one of New Jersey's many vibrant, beautiful immigrant communities, as someone who was born and raised in Hudson County, West New York, New Jersey, it is so infuriating to see this happening to our communities right now. These are the communities I grew up in. There's nothing abstract about this. I walk down the blocks of my neighborhood and I see signs that say ICE has abducted someone here. There are high school students who have been abducted. This is happening every single day. And the New Jersey that I love is the New Jersey I grew up in, where I interacted with nothing but foreign-born people for most of my childhood, my doctors, my teachers, the nurses, the caretakers. So what we're seeing right now, unfortunately, is that people are having to change how they live in response to the terror that is being inflicted on them. They're having to change the decisions they make every single day about bringing their kids to school, going to the doctor, whatever it might be. And unfortunately, once someone is detained, the damage that is done is completely irreversible. We're talking about severe financial ruin, trauma for everyone involved in that, everyone in that family, and sometimes permanent family separation. Detention centers are built to strip people of their humanity. It starts with them not even calling you by your own name. And just this past year, we've seen the most extreme manifestation of that, which is detention centers doing what they were designed to do, which is to kill people. We've just exited one of the deadliest years one of ICE's deadliest years on record this past year. And in December, John Wilson Brutus, a fellow New Jerseyan, was taken into ICE custody and brought to Delaney Hall. And this 41-year-old man was dead in less than 24 hours. Little information has been shared with his family. And unfortunately, this is not an isolated case. I personally have stood in 2 press conferences with families of people who have died in ICE detention in just the last 2 months. Additionally, as we've all heard yesterday, we know that ICE is not just killing people inside detention centers anymore, because yesterday they thought it was perfectly appropriate to murder somebody in broad daylight, who was a legal observer simply trying to protect her community, which is why we're here today. These 3 bills will protect our communities from rogue ICE agents. We understand it will not fix everything. This will not end deaths in detention, but you can prevent people from ending up in a system that is designed to kill them. I'll finish up right now. So I'm here in support of the full package of bills to be passed, as is, no amendments. And I just want to say that...
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
All right, I just ask the legislators to please show moral courage. This is incredibly important.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Christian, please.
So, yeah, I'm on behalf of Christian.
Okay. Just can you don't mind state your name then?
Yep. My name is Allison Garcia. I'm a 17-year-old high schooler, a senior at Mainland Regional High School, and a representative of El Pueblo Unido of Atlantic City. I'm also a young person whose life has been directly shaped by gaps in our systems. I'm here today to strongly support S5038, S5037, and S5036. I'm not only here as a student or an advocate, I'm here as a daughter and as someone who has lived through the consequences of systems that fail to protect families. I'm here today to share my family story as it directly relates to Bill S5038 and the importance of due process. When individuals are accused of a crime, they deserve due process, fair treatment, and a genuine opportunity to attend their day in court. This is a core constitutional principle. No one should be unjustly swept into immigration enforcement or have their family separated simply because they were accused of a crime before any criminal conviction. On July 24th, 2025, my mother was arrested on criminal charges. To this day, she maintains her innocence, yet she was never given the opportunity to fully defend herself or have her day in court. Our family hired a private attorney at the cost of over $10,000, my entire college fund, because we believed in the justice system and trust that due process would prevail in America. We were wrong. Less than 4 days after her arrest, processing, and release through the county criminal jail justice system, my mother was arrested and detained by ICE agents. She became a victim of the detention pipeline between county jails and federal immigration enforcement, a system that targets people simply because they are accused of a crime, not because they have been convicted of one. Less than 2 weeks after being detained by federal ICE agents, my mother was expeditedly removed and deported. She was separated from her child and from the life that she had built in New Jersey for over 30 years. The speed of this process left no room for fairness, no opportunity for due process, and no consideration for the child left behind. Overnight, my life changed. I had just earned my driver's license, a milestone most teenagers cannot wait to reach. Instead of using it to drive to the beach, I was using it to drive to see my mother at the Elizabeth Contract Detention Facility. I was entering the summer before my senior year, a time meant for enjoying childhood and preparing for college. Instead, I was forced to grow up instantly. My mother was the only person I had to count on. When she was taken away, I didn't just lose a parent. I lost my emotional support, my guidance, and my safety net. Today, I am living completely independently, without a single family in this state to take care of me. No child should come home from school to an empty house with no one to ask how their day was, no one to eat dinner with, and no one to say goodnight. No child should have to carry adult responsibilities without the comfort of someone waiting for them at home. I'm using my voice today because my mother cannot, because many parents cannot, and because too many children are living with the constant fear that the one person they depend on could be taken away at any moment. I'm here to say that there is another way, not just one that upholds justice without sacrificing humanity. These bills matter because they recognize the dignity and humanity of families like mine. They offer protection that reduce unnecessary harm, limit fear in communities, and ensure fairness and compassion in decision-making. I urge you to vote yes on these bills, not just for me, but for every child and every family who deserves protection, dignity, and the chance to stay together. My mother was not a criminal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Just so in case members have questions, are there any questions of the young ladies at the panel? Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's call up our next group.
Next panel, we have Ana Rivera representing Latino Action Network, Dr. Diane Herbert representing Cooper River Indivisible Rapid Response Team, and lastly, Sung Kwan. It's hard to make out the ink writing, it's faded. It might be Sung Kwang Jang. That individual's here. I'll up one more. Sign up slip Emilio Cordova.
Is Mr. Cordova here? Okay. There you are. There you are. Ma'am, if you wouldn't start by giving us your name first.
My name is Ana Cookie Rivera.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am actually a founding member of the Latino Action Network, C4, and I'm going to, we are a statewide coalition committed to equity, dignity, and justice for all New Jerseyans, regardless of race, ethnicity, or immigration status. The Latino Action Network strongly supports S5038, S5037, and S5039. These bills reflect our values our network has championed for more than several decades. Our protecting our families, upholding constitutional rights, and ensuring that no one is treated as disposable of their immigration status. I have submitted a copy of this statement to you all when I submitted my slip, so I'm going to be a little human maybe and pass through that and just say that we please ask you to pass all of these bills. Every single day that these bills are delayed, families are forced to choose between safety and simple survival. We are discussing humankind here today, and I beg us to consider being both. I am here for questions if needed. Thank you.
Ma'am?
How do I turn this on?
It's on. It's on.
Oh, okay.
Anna, cut yours off, please.
Okay, I'm a little emotional, but I will try to be coherent. I'm Dr. Diane Herbert. I'm a veterinarian. I live and work in South Jersey at an animal shelter. ICE agents have been picking people up not far from where I work and not far from where I live. Every time I go to work, I review an emergency plan in my head for what I'm going to do to protect my clients and my coworkers if ICE agents show up at our door. This is not normal. A veterinarian should not have to review an emergency plan for what they are going to do if masked secret police show up at their workplace. I would like to believe that ICE would not stoop so low to go to an animal shelter, but honestly, I think they will. I think they would. And I am just, this is happening right here in the United States, in New Jersey, in your districts. And just what kind of country have we become? I also do rapid response work, so I go right into the heart of the communities that are being affected. I could say a lot, but I'm going to focus on businesses, the impact on businesses in these districts. When I go in, I try to talk to business owners and I ask how they're being impacted. I want to go over a few of the heartbreaking stories that I have heard. I'm going to go into some specific examples. There is a family-run Mexican restaurant that has been open for 6 years. They've been very busy and successful until 2025. Now they're barely getting by. People are too scared to go to their restaurant. They have awards from the county hung all over their wall. They are now losing money and they have to put their own money in to keep their business open. During a normal holiday season, they would get a few thousand orders per week. Now they are getting, this past holiday season, they got a few hundred per week. Because of the situation, they want to sell the restaurant, but they don't know if they can find a buyer, so they are trapped. Another restaurant nearby is a beautiful Colombian restaurant that opened 1.5 years ago. Their first 6 to 8 months were busy. They were doing great. Last year at this time, they had 6 waiters. Now they have 2 waiters, and they barely have enough business for these 2 waiters. I was there at 1 p.m. this past Saturday, and they only had 1 table with 3 people. They said last year at this time, if you went there at 1 p.m. on Saturday, their dining room would have been full. This restaurant is so beautiful and so well put together. You can see they invested a lot of money and also a lot of love. And now they are on the brink of losing it all because people are too scared to go there. The owner told me that people are afraid that ICE will be in their parking lot when they leave the restaurant. Another restaurant is a family-run Mexican restaurant that's been open.
Doctor, can you get to your conclusion, ma'am, if you don't mind?
I'm sorry, that's the
Thank you.
timer. Yeah, I will just conclude by saying that I support these 3 bills, the immigrant protection package, and please vote yes for them. And I also really encourage you to go out and talk to business owners in your districts who are being impacted if you haven't already. It's really heartbreaking to see what's happening.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, stay there because it may be questions, so stay there. Emilio, yes, you're up, sir.
Is the microphone? Good afternoon. My name is Emilio Cordova. I'm from Camden County in South Jersey. My family has run a restaurant for the last 23-ish years, so it's all I've known. So before I was even born, it's been a part of my life. We're originally from Mexico, and one thing I want to personally reflect on is an anecdote that happened earlier last year, that really reflects the fear that immigration has, even on people that are here legally. So early last year, we got a prank call to the restaurant, and it was claiming that ICE was going to raid the restaurant. And I was not there that day. I was at school. Usually I go to work after school. And when I got there, the fear I saw in my coworkers and family's eyes was simply too much for me to bear. I recently just turned 18, but I was 17 at the time, and it really was heartbreaking to see the faces of my family, the horror on the faces of my family, and just I could not fathom what they were going through. And I just felt so powerless looking at them and wondering, why would someone think this is funny to do? Why would it be necessary to do? And it represents a greater disservice to people such as myself who are targeted simply for having coming from a different background. And I implore all of you to pass these S5036, S5037, and S5038, all without amendments, so that we can stop this fear that has taken hold of my community and others alike from people who really shouldn't have fear for. They're, at the end of the day, any law enforcement officials are here to uphold the law for us citizens. They're not here to bring us down or create any sort of fear. And we saw recently in Minnesota how they're willing to even kill citizens. And it does not matter if you are white, black, Hispanic, whatever creed you identify as. If you do not essentially bootlick them, you will be targeted. Force will be used against you. And I think it is absolutely necessary that states such as New Jersey, who have the ability to stand up and prove to the federal government that they will not take this laying down, they will not take this as they will not comply with unconstitutional orders. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions of this panel here? I just have a quick question. This isn't for you guys. I have a slip here for Alejandro Cordova. Emilio, are you in together? All right. So if it's Alejandro, it's okay. I think Emilio covered it for the family, if that's all right.
May I add something?
He did a heck of a job, though.
I promise I will be brief.
Very brief.
Yes.
Very brief. Go ahead.
But I will
No. Sit there. Sit there. We'll wait till you get on the microphone.
So the first interaction I had with the lawyer,
it was to do a representation. The only two words that I learned was time is of the essence, so I will be brief. So yes, as a business owner, I feel that we're in a difficult times. I can recreate my business. What I cannot recreate is my family. I cannot recreate a broken child that is worried that if I'm going to be back home or not. And it is very emotional because not only my family, but I see a lot of people that students are afraid to go to school because they don't know if their mom or dad are going to go back. So please pass this. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next up, I don't think there's any questions for the groups. You guys are good. David, call our next person up.
We have one sign-up slip representing opposition to one of the bills, S5037, Mr. John Indick, representing the Healthcare Association of New Jersey. The sign-up slip indicates opposition but seeking amendments. If that individual is here, to come up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the Judiciary Committee. My name is John Endyke with the Healthcare Association of New Jersey. We represent over 300 nursing and assisted living facilities throughout the state. We by no means object to the intent and objectives of this legislation. Our concern is how this may impact access to care for people that are in our long-term care facilities. We're quite unique from hospitals. I haven't heard of ICE ripping people out of nursing homes. And God, we would fear if ICE cracked down on our immigration workforce that support the care of our residents in our long-term care facilities. The problem we have with this bill is we rely heavily on Social Security numbers. We have to maintain that number even after the person is admitted and proven eligible for care. The problem will become if somebody, let's say they're in a nursing home, long-term stay, they go to Medicare or stay in a hospital, we have to give up their Social Security number. because they were there, or if their Medicare number changes because due to the death of a spouse, change of name, whatever reason, we have to rely on the Social Security number to identify that person and their benefits and to get claims processed. So we would ask for an exclusion from long-term care facilities for those reasons, because it is simply going to impact the ability to provide care for our residents. Again, we rely heavily on immigrants. We support what you're trying to do here, but we don't want to adversely impact the residents of our long-term care facilities.
Any questions for John? John, help me understand something, because again, a lot of us got these bills pretty late, but the way my understanding is the bill would still permits the collection or disclosure of information where legally required or necessary to administer a program. And the way it's been explained to me, immigration status is generally irrelevant to eligibility for many of our state and local services, and frankly to the enforcement of criminal law. So the data minimization that I think Senator Johnson is trying to get at is sort of a widely accepted practice that kind of reduces the risk of data breaches, et cetera, misuse, unintended disclosure, which is what I think he's trying to stop here. That's my reading of it, is how I understand it and how it's been presented to me. How do you read it differently than that?
In our facilities, that information is already protected by HIPAA. We cannot disclose it. And we rely heavily on the Social Security number, which we cannot disclose because of HIPAA. So we already have the protection there. What we don't want to see happen is, if somebody's care needs change and they change to a different venue and come back to us, it's just going to complicate the delivery of care. And I don't think this bill goes far enough in clarifying. I think there's a provision that says that as long as they're receiving care, you can maintain their Social Security number. But if their care episode changes and they go to a hospital and come back, and let's say they're incapacitated, they leave a long-term care facility, they go to a hospital and they're no longer coherent, they can't tell you their Social Security number so that we can identify their benefits eligibility. Maybe they don't have a loved one that knows the number. I don't know my mom's Social Security number. If I asked for that, I'd have to go hunt it down. So that would only delay access to care.
Again, John, I guess where I'm struggling, the Social Security Administration typically only gives Social Security numbers to people who are lawfully present, right, and meet very specific criteria. So you have to be a U.S. citizen, you have to have a lawful permanent residency, like a green card, et cetera, or work visa, like certain non-citizens with valid work authorization, they get those visa holders. If you are, and I think this whole concept, and I know the sponsors are with us and they'll get a chance to speak to this, so I don't want to get in front of them, but the whole concept is designed to protect those who are undocumented or unlawfully present, individuals who wouldn't qualify for a Social Security number. So I guess I'm struggling with this concern about passing along Social Security numbers, because these individuals that this package is trying to protect don't have Social Security numbers.
This bill would adversely affect those people that do have Social Security numbers and upon which we rely to maintain, to determine their eligibility for benefits and to get paid for the claims on those benefits. So
yeah, but the bill, I mean, I don't mean to be argumentative, but the bill permits the collection and disclosure of information when it's legally required. If it's legally required to disclose, I have a Social Security number to get these benefits, then you are permitted under this bill to do that.
I'm not aware of the Social Security number being legally required in our facilities. It's just that the Medicaid and Medicare systems are so dependent on the use of the Social Security number that if somebody's Medicare benefit number changes, we have to rely on the Social Security number to identify that person and their benefit eligibility.
Okay. I guess from my reading, I don't see that same concern, but I could be wrong. That warrants that I got to do some more due diligence, which I will do before, if this bill makes it out of committee and it gets to the floor.
I do have one of our assisted living directors who is a licensed nursing administrator who we employed from a facility. She looked at this bill. She's upstairs waiting for consideration in the assembly. She knows this much better than I. As soon as she saw this bill, she said this would be very problematic, in our facilities, and it could hinder access to care.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions of John? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're fortunate enough to have two of the sponsors of the legislation here with us. We're going to ask them to come up and speak. Senator Raj Mukherjee, I believe Senator Timberlake is with us as well. So we'll ask you guys to take a seat up there. Sit up there, please.
Through you.
Chairman Mukherjee, with your deference, will allow the senator to speak first, if that's
Senator
okay.
McCurdy is going to go first, but through you, may we please request a translator? Make the road. ACLU.
The senator is looking for somebody from the audience to come up to perhaps, translate your comments.
Yeah, no.
Not that you need a translator, right? Not that you need a translator.
The both of us, please. Thank you. You can go. You can sit there. Yeah. So you have a microphone. Thank you for that.
So Senator Mukherjee is going to go first.
Thank you, Chairman, through you and distinguished colleagues. And you'll hear for the first prime in a moment. She's much more eloquent than I. But S5500 is about making our state safer by ensuring victims can come forward without fear, witnesses can cooperate, and police can focus on real public safety threats, reducing violence in our streets, and solving crime effectively. 3 children of Renee Nicole Good woke up this morning without a mother. She had just dropped off one of them to school, a 6-year-old boy, same age as my son. And his father, a veteran of our armed forces, died in 2023, so he's an orphan now. Irresponsible immigration enforcement policy that betrays constitutional due process principles and the rule of law, and by the way, right now the irresponsibility of it is on steroids nationally, was bad enough when they were yanking not just our law-abiding immigrant neighbors, but lawful permanent residents, green card holders, and U.S. citizens out of their cars, out of cruise ship bedrooms. But now they're killing Americans on the street. Now imagine if local police were involved in an incident like that here in New Jersey. ICE is violating folks' civil rights every single day. Should our constituents and local taxpayers be on the hook for the damages that will inevitably result from those lawsuits? Evidence from jurisdictions throughout the country shows that routine ICE involvement in local policing reduces crime reporting, especially for domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Because when people go underground, it gets more dangerous for all of us, including our heroes in local and state law enforcement. And I think that's why so many members of law enforcement and prosecutors supported the Immigrant Trust Directive when it was initially issued, and this legislation. And the district court here in New Jersey and the Third Circuit has affirmed that holding that our state's Immigrant Trust Directive is not preempted by federal law because Congress can only regulate the conduct. Who let ICE in here?
Is somebody standing by the lights and maybe your back hit the lights? Please turn them on.
Yeah, I'll go check for the light switches. Hold on.
This wouldn't happen if you have nuclear
These
power.
are working.
I don't know. It's up to the channel.
Mics are still working.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Considering the way this administration has turned the lights off on democracy, I think that was fitting. Just wrapping up, Chairman, the District Court has held and the Third Circuit has affirmed that our state's Immigrant Trust Directive is not preempted by federal law because Congress can regulate the conduct of private actors but not state governments under our Constitution's anti-commandeering principles. So this bill is for public safety. It's for strengthening the trust between our communities and our law enforcement officers and make us all safer. And I deeply appreciate the committee's consideration today. Thank you.
¿Aló? Bueno, ese 5500 trata de hacer Nueva Jersey más seguro, es asegurando que víctimas pueden venir sin miedo y testigos pueden cooperar. Y la policía puede enfocarse en las amenazas reales de seguridad pública, previniendo violencia y arreglando el crimen efectivamente. 3 niños de René Nicole Good despertaron esta mañana sin una madre. Ella había acabado de dejar uno de ellos en el colegio, un niño de 6 años, la misma edad que mi hijo. Y su padre, un veterano de nuestras Fuerzas Armadas, murió en 2023. Entonces el niño ahora es huérfano. Irresponsable legislación de migración que traiciona nuestra Constitución y la ley. Ahorita esa irresponsabilidad está en esteroides nacionalmente. Estaba suficientemente mal cuando estaban sacando no solamente los inmigrantes, pero los residentes, pero los ciudadanos estadounidenses de sus carros y de las habitaciones en los cruceros. Pero ahora están matando estadounidenses en la calle. Ahora imagínate si un oficial de policía local fuera involucrado en un accidente como eso en Nueva Jersey. Ahí se está violando los derechos civiles de la gente todos los días. ¿Deberían nuestros residentes locales estar responsables por esas demandas? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying you could just conclude on that.
Okay. Conclude on that.
Timberlake.
Thank you. I am here today as a proud sponsor of one of these bills and co-sponsor of the others. There has been a lot of media attention, exploitation of the situation that is happening with ICE as well as with immigrants and with our nation. And I can tell you most of what you are hearing regarding this being lawful is absolutely false. The actions that ICE have been taking are not lawful. They are not constitutional. According, and my colleague did mention it, there is the supremacy clause where the federal laws reign supreme, but there's also the anti-commandeering, where our systems and our programs do not have to comply or administer, I should say, administer those federal programs. I'll pause so that you can get a jump on this. Go ahead.
Buenos días.
Line by line, it's okay, we can skip, well, that's all right, I'm gonna pause and give you time, okay? There is a very famous poem, which I will pass to you,
Hay un poema extremadamente famoso
that was written by a pastor,
que fue escrito por un pastor
and it's called First They Came.
y es llamado Primero ellos vinieron.
First they came for the communists,
Primero llegaron por los comunistas
and I did not speak out
y no hablé,
because I was not a communist.
porque yo no era una comunista.
Then they came for the socialists,
Y después llegaron por los socialistas
and I did not speak out
y yo no hablé,
because I was not a socialist.
porque yo no era un socialista.
Then they came for the trade unionists,
Después llegaron por los sindicalistas
and I did not speak
y
out
no hablé,
because I was not a trade unionist.
porque yo no fui un sindicalista.
And then they came for the Jews,
Y después llegaron por los judíos
and I did not speak out
y yo no hablé,
because I was not a Jew.
porque yo no era judío.
Then they came for me,
Después llegaron por mí
and there was no one left to speak out for me.
y no había nadie más para hablar por mí.
That is a very famous poem written by a Christian man, unfortunately at the height of the Holocaust.
Eso fue un poema famoso escrito por Christian Man, desafortunadamente durante la Holocaustia.
The behavior of ICE has been atrocious.
El comportamiento de la ICE ha sido horrorosa.
These bills are seeking to offset that as much as we possibly can according to our state sovereignty.
Estos leyes están tratando de
According to our state sovereignty. Take your time.
sorry, están intentando de dejarlos o pues obstacularlos lo más que podamos de acuerdo a las leyes estatales.
Detaining people who are immigrants, and we know that the Constitution actually also protects immigrants.
Detener a la gente que son inmigrantes y nosotros sabemos que la Constitución también protege a las personas inmigrantes.
But even our citizens is wrong.
Pero hasta nuestros ciudadanos está incorrecto.
Both immigrants and citizens are being caught up in this. Oh. Go ahead.
Ciudadanos e inmigrantes, los dos están sufriendo las repercusiones de esto.
Much of it is racial profiling,
La mayoría de esto es persecución racial,
which I, as an African American citizen of this country,
que yo como una mujer afroamericana en este país
can identify with, as that has been happening to my people since the inception of this country.
yo puedo identificar con esto porque esto ha estado pasando con mi gente desde el principio de este país.
Being unlawfully detained, dying while in custody, not receiving due process,
Siendo detenido ilegalmente, muriendo en custodia, no recibiendo el proceso correcto,
has been the plight of African Americans and indigenous people since the inception of this country.
ha sido la pelea de las personas afroamericanas desde la concepción de este país.
It must stop right here, right now with all of us.
Tiene que parar ahora mismo con todos de nosotros.
Everyone deserves the protection that our Constitution promises.
Todos merecemos la protección que nuestra Constitución promesa da.
And these bills get us one step further
Y estas leyes nos llegan un paso por adelante
to make sure that we are insulating our state from this overreach of power.
para asegurar que nosotros estamos insulando nuestro Estado de este poder.
That if you have anyone who is an ancestor of a Holocaust survivor will tell you that this is how it starts.
Si tienes a cualquier persona que es un ancestro o sobreviviente de la Holocaustia, te van a decir que esto es como empieza.
If you don't believe me,
Si no me crees,
just ask the children
solamente pregúntale a los niños.
of the 37-year-old woman from Minnesota,
Los niños de la mujer de 37 años en Minnesota.
a white American citizen
Una mujer blanca, ciudadana,
who was just shot and killed by ICE.
que acabó de ser matada por la migra.
This is not Democrat or Republican,
Esto no es de partidos
and it would be disgusting to make this a bipartisan, a partisan issue. A partisan.
sería horrible hacerlo un problema partisano.
It's a human rights issue, and I urge all of my colleagues and my friends on both sides of the aisles to pass these bills and vote yes out of committee, and to furthermore vote for them on the floor. Thank you, and thank you for your courtesy.
Es un problema que yo les pido que a ustedes, a mis colegas dentro y fuera del comité, que por favor voten sí en estas leyes. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Any questions for the sponsors of the bill? Thank you. Let's get our next panel up here, please.
So we're back with individuals or organizations signed up to testify in support of the legislation. And again, we're talking about all three of the bills simultaneously. We have Jessica Kitson, representing Volunteers Lawyers for Justice. Denise Higgins, representing the New Jersey Coalition to End Domestic Violence. And the Reverend Eric Poza, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Cherry Hill. Excuse me. We've got a long.
A lot of people are here a long time and got to go too. So when he pulls it, we'll pull it up. We'll try and move it up as fast as we can. Okay.
So essentially, we didn't have the one other individual, one more member of the panel, Diana Maheo, Wind of the Spirit, representing Wind of the Spirit organization. Nope. A familiar face. Thank you.
Ma'am, your name for the record and you can begin.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Jessica Kitson, and I'm the Director of Legal Advocacy with Volunteer Lawyers for Justice. I'm here to express VLJ's strong support for S 5036, 5037, and 5038 that make up this immigrant protection package. This critical legislation will help ensure that all New Jersey residents can live, work, and seek help in their communities without fear. VLJ is a nonprofit legal services organization dedicated to ensuring access to justice for people experiencing poverty throughout New Jersey. Every day we serve low-income individuals and families, including immigrants. Through our Survivors Justice Project, we represent survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, and other serious crimes. We see firsthand how fear of immigration enforcement prevents crime victims from reporting crimes, seeking protection, accessing health care, or even enrolling their children in school. This fear harms not only immigrant communities, but the safety and well-being of all New Jersey residents. Immigrant women and children are especially at risk of abuse due to language barriers, economic dependence, and limited access to information about available supports. These vulnerabilities are often compounded by abusers who weaponize immigration status, threatening survivors with detention or deportation if they seek help. As a result, many survivors remain trapped in dangerous situations, afraid that reaching out to law enforcement or service providers will place themselves or their families at risk. Courts and researchers have long recognized that entangling local systems with federal immigration enforcement undermines public safety. When reporting a crime could lead to deportation, survivors and witnesses are less likely to come forward, allowing abusers to act with impunity. These dynamics enable criminals to target communities with large undocumented populations, knowing their crimes are less likely to be reported. Data confirms this reality. In a national survey of advocates working with immigrant survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence, 76% reported that their clients feared contacting police, and more than half reported survivors dropping civil or criminal cases due to immigration concerns. Jurisdictions with strong community trust policies have been shown to experience lower rates of domestic homicide against Hispanic women, underscoring the life-saving impact of these protections. This package of immigration protection bills are a crucial step toward rebuilding trust between immigrant communities and state and local government. By clearly limiting state and local involvement in federal civil immigration enforcement, these bills reinforce New Jersey's commitment to fairness, due process, and equal protection under the law. It ensures that local resources are used to promote public safety and community well-being. For those reasons, we encourage all of you to support these bills without amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Denise.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Denise Higgins. I'm the legal.
Denise, can you hold on one second? Jessica, can you cut your mic off? Go ahead, Denise.
Yep. I'm the Legal and Policy Director at the New Jersey Coalition to End Domestic Violence. As you know, we're a statewide domestic violence coalition. We have a membership of 35 agencies providing support and shelter services to survivors of domestic violence throughout the 21 counties in our state. We just want to uplift what we've already heard today. You've heard some amazing individuals share their stories, and we want to thank them for having the courage to come forward. Today, I'm just going to speak a little bit about how this is impacting survivors of domestic violence. And again, we urge you to pass through the full package of bills because everything in this bill touches on everything our survivors are experiencing every day. Victims and survivors of domestic violence must be able to trust that they have access and receive services without fear of being targeted by ICE, without fear of having their information shared with immigration enforcement, or without fear of being deported and separated from their families. Domestic violence feeds off of isolation. Limiting the places a survivor feels they can safely access safety only exacerbates the isolation they're experiencing. It emboldens the abusive partner, and it increases power and control over these victims, putting them in further danger. Victims and survivors should be able to turn to their church, to their healthcare providers, to their school or their local domestic violence agencies without fear of being targeted by ICE. Over the last year, we have experienced firsthand the chilling effect, the fear, and the confusion that the federal executive orders, the lack of information and misinformation the public is causing to survivors, to advocates, and to our providers. This legislation is critical to ensure that the Attorney General provides as much needed guidance to our providers to ensure they follow federal law, including protecting the rights of survivors to access services safely and confidentially. Domestic violence is a major public safety issue that not only affects the safety of the primary victim, but the safety of the children, the family, the community, and law enforcement as well. In a study conducted by the National Alliance for Immigrant Survivors, this past December 2025, over 75% of respondents reported that immigrant survivors are fearful of police. Survivors have concerns with being arrested, detained, or deported simply for calling for help. Survivors are concerned that their information will be shared between local law enforcement and immigration enforcement, and that they may be working together. Survivors are often warned by their community and family members not to get police involved. Survivors fear being in public places or where there may be law enforcement present. We have several examples from our member agencies. One example is, sorry, if I could just give these really quickly.
But Denise, I need you just to give you a conclusion, if you don't mind. Thank you.
We have survivors not showing up for services, not showing up for a court, and not working with law enforcement. This is happening today in New Jersey. We need these packages to be passed so we can work with our community to make these services accessible for survivors.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Diana.
Hi, I'm Claudia Mejia Seidenstricker. I'm the representative for Wind of the Spirit, and I'm reading the testimony of one of our members, Cindy Cordero, who could not be here as she is the primary caregiver of her daughter. My name is Cindy Cordero, and I am a domestic worker and a member of Wind of the Spirit. I am from Guatemala, where I am a nurse, and I am the mother of Scarlett, my 10-year-old daughter, autistic, born and raised here in the United States. We have lived here for 16 years, working and contributing to this country every single day. Today, I want to share my story with you, told through the eyes of my daughter, Scarlett, who is among the many children mislabeled as anchor babies. This expression is deeply painful because of its derogatory intent. Every morning, she boards the school bus peacefully, certain that when she returns, she will find both her father and myself at home. In her mind, that is her reality, and there should be no reason for it to be any different. However, as I see her off and give her my blessing, I am left with a knot in my stomach, a growing nausea as I feel my heart tear out of my body and try to envelop my daughter to protect her from this harsh world, knowing that all I can do is pray. Pray that we will see each other again at the end of the school day. pray that we are not separated. Because of her condition, my daughter needs me now more than ever. We both need to remain in the country where she was born and where she has grown for the past 10 years, with the right to education and specialized medical care. Words cannot describe the fear, anxiety, and uncertainty I feel every day when I leave for work. Sometimes I think it is a lack of faith, but when I hear of cases like that of a fellow Guatemalan woman who was detained by ICE while taking her children to school, or when I see news like yesterday's murder in Minneapolis, I realize it is not a lack of faith. There is a real danger and an escalating persecution that threatens the undocumented immigrant community. Because even though we live and work in the United States and are granted full rights under the Constitution, we do not have access to these rights. These are difficult times. I often think of other mothers of children with special needs who, like me, live with anxiety every minute of their lives. Passing the Immigrant Protection Package means that families living in New Jersey can have a true quality of life and feel assured knowing our information is kept confidential, as it should be. It means emotional, mental, and professional well-being. It means feeling peace in our neighborhoods and security in our homes. I am certain that you know or have encountered the hard work of immigrants and their quality as human beings. On their behalf, I submit my petition for you to approve this law in New Jersey, which powerfully counteracts the anti-immigration policies of the current administration. I leave you with my story and my trust in your humanity amidst such hostility. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions of this panel here? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring up our next group. Thank you all.
Next panel, we have Asma Eluni, as well as Ana Paolo Pazmino and Jessica DeFalco, all representing the organization Resistance or Resistance en Acción.
Can just one person speak to the thing? Because if you have a lot of people here today, and we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak, can just one person speak to all of it? No. Just one person from this organization to speak. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I apologize. I do have a flight to catch at 4:30 in Philadelphia, and that's why I think it is super important. It is important for everyone to know who we are because we actually serve this particular district. And so all of you come here often. You should know we exist. We are the main immigrant rights organization in Trenton. We're called Resistencia en Acción, New Jersey, and we serve all of Mercer County. I happen to lead the rapid response team with Resistencia. By the way, today we wake up every day, 5:30 in the morning until 8:30, where we are patrolling the streets of Trenton. Most of the time in Trenton, other times in Ewing, and some other places as well. So I just want to talk to a particular part in the bill and why it is important that this bill pass. And it has to do with the fact that I was actually arrested by our police department because ICE called the police on me. So I just wanted to preface that. This is what it's about and why this bill is important. I want to start off with ICE has abducted people simply for walking in their own neighborhoods, often violently. We have witnessed ICE corner vehicles after racially profiling the people inside, then detaining them. We have confronted ICE more times than I can count, and I have seen firsthand the harm, cruelty, and violence they inflict on our communities. This includes detaining people without warrants, targeting workers in the early morning hours as they sit in their cars waiting outside homes in predominantly Latino neighborhoods, knocking on doors and hoping residents do not know their rights, and attempting to lure people outside without judicial warrants. We have held crying family members, including today, if you go look at our Facebook, where a family member was abducted in Trenton. By the way, also today, we have followed ICE out of Trenton. 15 minutes, we tailgated them until they got on the highway and left. We have held crying family members. We have comforted children whose parents were taken away. Before I continue, I want to be very clear about something that is oftentimes used to justify this conduct. A final order of removal is not a crime. It is not a warrant. It is not a determination that someone is dangerous. It is a civil immigration decision, often issued without a lawyer and frequently the result of missed court notices or a deeply flawed system. Nothing about a final order authorizes local police to assist ICE, share information, or facilitate deportation. Treating civilian immigration paperwork as a public safety trigger is dangerous misuse of power. On multiple occasions, we have seen, this is the most important.
Get to that part.
This is
Thank
it.
you.
On multiple occasions, we have seen local law enforcement present alongside ICE with no judicial warrant. And this happens because there are no clear limits defining what police are prohibited from doing when ICE is involved. And I want to share one of those incidences to share why this bill is necessary.
Respectfully, we have a lot. Just please get to the conclusion.
On August 21st, sir, I responded to a call reporting ICE activity in Trenton neighborhood. When I arrived, men wearing vests, carrying large guns were present. They immediately threatened me and told me I would be arrested. And I stated that I knew, and they stated they knew who I was. I reminded them of my constitutional right to record, and I informed community members of their rights. I called other members of my team to come help document and assist. ICE then called the Trenton Police Department in an attempt.
Sir, respectfully, we've held everyone, and I gave you a lot of latitude. We've held everyone to the 3-minute piece. I asked you if you wouldn't mind concluding.
Yes.
So can you please just conclude right now, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
The Trenton Police Department, in particular, Officer Miles, was present and had me arrested. They created, the Trenton Police Department, created a safe perimeter so that ICE can continue their unlawful activity of detaining a family member. This bill is vital so that people and police departments ensure that they know what they can and cannot do. This bill has training, this bill has reporting to ensure that the AG gets every time that the police department assists ICE, they are informed and they know that they're not supposed to. So that is something I wanted to talk about and why there is a need for this bill.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are you, ma'am, I'm sorry, are you with the same organization?
I'm another organization as well.
Okay, which organization
NJ
are you with?
5051.
What is it? I'm sorry.
New Jersey 5051.
Okay, and your name, say your name for the record.
My name is Jessica DeFalco.
Okay.
I have been a resident of New Jersey my entire life, Mercer County the last 25 years. Like I said, I'm an organizer for NJ 5051. We're a grassroots protest movement. We've been doing the protests here in Trenton outside the State House all year. I'm also a member and rapid responder for Resistencia. I'm also a newly elected school board member in the East Windsor Regional School District. While I am not here representing the board, I am testifying today as a private citizen. I specifically would like to talk about the Safe Communities Act of 5036. While I was doing a rapid response call, in East Windsor, it was right next to the Ethel McKnight Elementary School, a K-2 school in East Windsor in Twin Rivers. And we had responded to calls there on Monday, on Tuesday, and I was successfully able to get ICE to leave. On Wednesday, I had to go to the office that day and couldn't patrol. That was the day that they took a father after he dropped his son off to school right at that elementary school. And they waited until he stepped off the grass that was school property and stepped onto the road, which was then the street that he lived on, and they took him in full view of the entire school, the principal, the students, the teachers, everyone during morning drop-off. It's traumatizing children that may not even be both part of the immigrant community and not. Everyone else's children is seeing this happen. And also, we've also, while responding to calls in East Windsor for ICE, they drove through the Heightstown High School parking lot at excessive speeds, again, at morning drop-off time. morning arrival time. So the Safe Communities Act is essential to protect the students. The students just want to, they don't really probably want to go to school, but they have to go to school. But the ones that want to, it should be a safe place. For some students, school is the only safe place for them. So just really would like to express again my support and hope that you all can have the same courage that I do in supporting this bill. And like I said, you see my chair, I struggled to get up the steps. I respond to these calls as a disabled person in my chair and go up against ICE agents by myself as a disabled woman. So if I can have that courage, please, I ask you to have the courage to support these bills. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions of this witness here? All right. Let's call our next group up.
We have the Reverend Eric Posa, representing Unitarian Universalist Church in Cherry Hill. We have assigned for Adrian Bishop, representing the organization Wind of Spirit. But I'll note for the Vice Chair, we already had a representative from Wind of Spirit.
Yeah, and he waves, and she waves, and so does Eric.
Okay, thank you. Additionally, to the Reverend Eric Posa, we have Father Jack Zamboni.
He waves.
Waves as well, okay. I've got some difficult handwriting here, but I'll try to make this out. Maybe Rosario Rodriguez, Laundry Workers Center. Keep filling up the table. Kathleen Bansil. This is also Resistance on Action, which is the representative from the previous speaker. So we'll jump to the next slip, which is Brian Bilski, in favor of the legislation. And one more. Let's see if we can get one more. Tia Block. Okay, it looks, yes, we have our three panelists.
Ms. Locke, we'll start ladies first. Can you cut your, sir in the middle, cut your mic off, please. There you go.
Hi, my name is Tia Block. I'm also a rapid responder with Resistance en Acción, but I'm not here to speak about my work there, although I very much could. I could tell you about the inhumanity I've seen from immigration enforcement. I could also talk about the overwhelming support I've seen for the work that we do. But I'm here to talk about my other work. As your coworker, so to speak. I work right down the street for the Department of State within the New Jersey State Museum. I'm a CWA member, and I'm part of the Education Bureau within the museum, which is responsible for the museum's field trips. This past fall, I exhibited at NGEA, speaking to dozens of teachers from across the state. And I was consistently asked by teachers if our educators at the museum did school visitations as an alternative to bringing their classes to the museum. The primary reason? They're worried about bringing their students anywhere because of the demographic of the students. They're worried about ICE. This is entire classes of kids, classes that might include your own kids, who can't go on field trips because of the very justified fears teachers have about our public institutions. They can't even guarantee children's safety within their own schools, let alone taking them on a field trip. Of course they're worried. And that absolutely devastates me. I can guarantee that there's people working within the State House because they were brought here on a field trip as a kid and something lit up in their eyes. I know I'm working my job because of the field trips I went on as a kid. I remember going to museums and it lit up my eyes. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm working in the Capitol complex alongside you and why I'm serving the people of Jersey. And we're denying that opportunity, that joy to children because we can't guarantee that our public institutions are safe. Now, I see these bills as just the beginning. We need a lot more protections for immigrant communities here in the state. We need a lot more. And this is a really good start. But we're already feeling the consequences of everything right now. It's the morning after the murder of Renee Nicole Good at the hands of ICE, who leaves behind 3 children and a wife. There won't be school today in Minneapolis. Public schools are closed. There won't be school tomorrow either because of ICE's activity in Minneapolis. So as we continue to see the ripple effects of ICE's terror campaign, racial profiling, families torn apart, communities and children terrified, people murdered, I ask, where's your line? The battle's come to New Jersey. It's been here. Again, I could talk about my work as a rapid responder and what I've seen. I know where I stand on it, and I'm asking for you to stand on the right side. I built a career off of New Jersey history, and I'm asking you to stand on the right side of that history before it gets any worse.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your testimony, Pastor.
Thank you. Reverend Eric Poza, I have the honor of serving the Unitarian Universalist Church in Cherry Hill, and our members live across the South Jersey area and include members who have immigrated to New Jersey from other countries, other continents. And there is, I come here to speak in favor of passage of particularly Senate Bill 6308, as well as the other legislation in the immigrant protection package, because not only of the stress and the legitimate worries that our immigrant members have, but that our congregation as a whole and many other congregations and sensitive locations I know of have for, on behalf of those immigrants who would be part of them. There is palpable concern about the well-being and safety of those immigrants who might visit us on Sunday morning or attend other events that we host throughout the week. And we are seeking ways to offer protection to such people. The Safe Communities Act, Senate Bill 6308, directs the Attorney General to provide specific guidance in conversation with faith leaders about how faith communities, as well as other sensitive locations, can provide policies and procedures to protect immigrants from ICE. It's regrettable that we're at that point, but as one who follows a faith that understands that love is at the center of what we do and who lifts up the inherent dignity and worthiness of every person, I urge us to better equip us and other faith communities and other locations in providing those protections. I urge you to vote without amendment in favor of Senate Bill 6308 and as well as 09 and 10. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And our third witness.
Greetings all. Brian Bilski is my name. I'm qualified to speak to this, but I'm limited on time, so let's just jump into it. This is going to be grounded in reality where facts matter, action speaks louder than words, and you better have evidence to back up your arguments. The mission of ICE is to protect America through criminal investigations and enforcing immigration laws to preserve national security and public safety. And if you go deeper, they say they're going to get the worst of the worst, including murderers, rapists, and pedophiles. Now that sounds very ambitious and tricky because we have a broken immigration system where folks can wait decades to get citizenship, and growing up in New Jersey and then living in Colorado and California, I've heard this story countless times. We also know immigrants have the lowest crime rate, and among that crime rate, asylum seekers have even the lowest crime rate. Over 95% make their hearings, and they have since I was buried in this data 20 years ago. And we have employers abusing the system, and they don't want change. So here we are, the beginning of 2026, and we have a year's worth of data to look at. So let's look at that data. First thing they did was get rid of due process for all. When many of us know the only way due process works for the individuals when we have due process for all. They also approved racial profiling, looking for an accent or color of skin. And so there's two big red flags right off the bat. So far, year to date, only 3.1% of those detained have any criminal conviction. Inside detention, only 6% are considered a high threat level, while 76% have no threat level whatsoever. And these numbers have been getting worse. That means their monthly averages have been declining, and due process would have avoided this in the first place. So how are they acting? Masked men without warrants, masked men not identifying themselves, often, mostly without warrants, or showing a badge or ID, which reminds me growing up how I was told about in other countries, you can be picked up by masked men off the street, and I should be grateful to be in the United States of America. So how are they doing so far? The FBI a couple months ago urged ICE to ID themselves. Why? Because of the increased amount of frauds or imposters doing robberies, sexual assault, and kidnapping. The Reddington Township municipality up north a number of months ago put out an alert to the entire municipality to be cautious about imposters posing as ICE. And I guess I'll just end. There's a Bound Brook video where an ICE agent among 8 ICE agents is asked, "Can we have your badge number?" And he laughs, looks to the right, he goes, says, "I don't have a badge number." And the 8 guys jump in, take off, and leave the guy they were about to take in their car. And I feel under normal times, a video of this nature would have an investigation, because nobody wants masked men running around picking up people off the streets. Sadly, that's only a fraction of the data, but welcome your questions.
Well,
that was my timer, right?
By the way, yes, that was the timer. Anybody who, the 3-minute limit, because we have so many people, there's more that you want to say. We do read everybody's cards and letters, so don't be afraid to supplement whatever you said today with some other testimony in writing. We're happy to look at it.
Certainly, thank you.
Thank you for coming in today. Our next panel will be.
We have Georgianne D'Angelo representing Resistance League of Women Voters. Okay. This is actually a sign-up slip, which is a repeat for Anna Rivera. I know that she had already testified. So just a note, a lot of you also, in addition to signing up on all 3 bills at once, some of you also filled out sign-up slips individually. So there may be instances where I'm going to find a name repeated. If I do mention that name and you already testified, the committee would appreciate just to acknowledge the fact that you already testified. Again, as all the chairs have been indicating, we're trying to get to everybody as best as we can today. So next we have Ellen, it's either White or Witta, representing Dyer, D-A-R-E. Okay. Dale Chant. Do we have a Dale Chant here? And I'll also jump in to try to fill these chairs. Lynette Jenkins, I believe also with Dyer. Okay. Linda Greenwood, Cooper River Indivisible. Still no takers? Okay. Enrique Aurelia Jr., Center for Family Services. Erica Dish, representing, I believe, Haval Dems, Democrats.
I wave.
Okay. Reverend Eric Kushmar, ELCA. So that's one. We're looking for 2 more. Evelyn Murph, LWV of Monmouth County. Wave, okay. Dale Chant. Did I already say that name before? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're working our way through. I have a sign-up slip for Dr. Diane Herbert. I know she testified earlier, so we'll move on to another sign-up slip. Regina Herzig.
She said she never signed.
You didn't sign? Oh, my sign-up slip just says in favor. But if you're in favor, no need to testify. I'll just drop the slip. Okay. We already heard from Alejandro Cordova, as well as Amelia Cordova. We heard from Jessica Kitson. Denise Higgins, we heard from you already. Althea Ford, NJBIA.
I'm here.
Would Yes. If you'd like to come up and testify, yes. Okay, so we've got 2 seats filled. We already called Brian Bilski. We also heard from Asma El Helrani, Ana Paolo Pasmiano, and Jessica DeFalco. Tia Block was also a name that was called earlier. Again, repeating, we have Anna Rivera. Here's a new one, Hera Mir, AAPI, New Jersey. Okay, we'll keep going. Nujan Terrera. All right, we're getting close. Ellen, I called before Ellen Whitney Dyer, so that's out. I also called Lynette Jenkins Dyer. Linda Greenwood was a name I called before. Enrique Aurelio Jr. called before. New name, I believe, Lisa Catton.
She's on the side over there.
What's that? Yeah, but you just have written, because you testified previously, correct?
Yeah, this is for Linda.
Okay, yeah. If you have something in writing, you can provide it to that lady right there, and she will be able to make that available to the members.
There's a woman in the wing over there by the column, right over there.
Which one was that? Was that Lisa Catton?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to come around and oh, okay, you're not okay. Thank you. Rosanna Eve, Ironbound Community Corporation. Okay, thank you. It looks like we've got our panel of 3. Thank you very much.
Pastor, you were first in the batter box, so if you would start.
Does that work? Here we go. My name is Reverend Eric Cussman. I represent the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. I bring you greetings from my presiding bishop, Yellow Curry, based in Chicago. The ELCA is one of the largest Christian denominations in the United States of America. So thank you for having me. I am also a pastor right here in the city of Trenton at St. Bartholomew Lutheran Church. I'm not going to be redundant. I heard what a lot was said, but I'm going to speak about an incident this morning. In the city of Trenton, right here where we're all sitting, there's been about 15 to 20 ICE raids happening while this was all going on, if you did not know that. I have a preschool which has mostly brown and black children in at my church, which we had to go on lockdown because ICE slowly rode by the church while the kids were outside playing in their playground. I'm just asking, when is this okay? Why is this okay? And when is it going to stop? How many of our civil liberties are we going to give up until we become the Fourth Reich? Please answer that for me. Because that's the direction we are heading in. I read social media posts. I saw they had, in a Missouri Synod church across the river that's not part of us, they had a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. This is the way we're going with our country, and it's not okay. We are supposed to be a nation that welcomes all if we actually believe in the words that are written on the Statue of Liberty, right? But I'm here in support and in favor, not just on me, but on behalf of my entire denomination, which the ELCA has 240 congregations right here in the state of New Jersey. We will do all that we can to protect our brothers and sisters that are all created in the image of God, come what may. They read that poem earlier today from Martin Niemöller, who was a Lutheran resistor in Nazi Germany. I'm also a believer in Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a Lutheran resistor in Nazi Germany. And I'm going to leave you with a quote. He said, "Silence in the face of evil is evil itself, and not to act is to act." So by anybody's silence in the Senate and commissioning area, or even who passes the laws in this building, their silence shows what side of the aisle they're on. And I just pray that y'all are courageous to do the right thing, and anything you need to support your value of what you're proposing this morning, what you're voting on, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America will support you. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. Althea Ford with the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. My comments today are very specific to Senate Bill 5037, the Patient Privacy Act. We appreciate the bill's intent for privacy protection, and we just want to amplify sections of the bill that will have an unintended consequence of creating operational challenges for healthcare facilities that need access to information to help patients to get the care they need. and such consequences can result in increases to healthcare costs, which I'm sure we are all very sensitive to. To this end, we were asking for consideration of amendments to clarify that the Social Security and TIN number collection for the purposes of operational matters, like insurance verification and payment processing, and to remove the private right of action language connected to the collection of this information, particularly for those purposes. Healthcare providers require Social Security numbers and TIN numbers to verify patient eligibility and process insurance billing accurately, and so restricting this information will create administrative bottlenecks, payment delays, and billing errors, all increasing operational costs for New Jersey's healthcare system. Similarly, Social Security numbers and TIN number verification prevents medical identity theft and fraudulent billing. And without these safeguards, fraud losses translate directly into higher costs for the New Jersey healthcare system, affecting both businesses and individual consumers. The private right of action exposes healthcare facilities to potentially costly litigation related to the collection and disclosure of that information, and such language can lead to potential litigation abuse and increases to operational costs as providers are seeking to litigate potentially frivolous claims. And so with that, we have engaged these sponsors on these concerns. We do hope that there's some consideration given to these specific items. And so with that, I thank you for the time and your attention to my comments. Thanks.
Hi, can you hear me? So my name is Rosanna Eve. I work for Ironbound Community Corporation. We are located in Essex County, Newark. I was having everything written down, but now I'm just going to speak from my heart. I served over 17,000 people this past year. Most of them are undocumented. So not all undocumented are criminals. So let's get that clear from the beginning. Not everybody is criminal. And if we look at the criminal justice system here, most of the people that are incarcerated are citizens. So moving along, why I'm 100% in favor of this bill, those three pieces of legislation, is because we've seen children trying not to go to school because they don't know if the parents are going to be able to pick them up. We see parents that they don't want to take the kids to school because they don't know what's going to happen. I have a case that the mother was in the house with 3 other children, pregnant, with high fever because she was having a virus or something, and she refused to seek medical assistance because she was afraid of ICE showing up at the hospital. And then she's losing her children. So we have a lot of families that are mixed status. We have families that are undocumented and also have children that are citizens. So it's important to have those bills to prevent the separations of families. We cannot be like just thinking about people having a criminal record. There's a lot of other issues that we have to prevent, like the children that are going to be in foster care and all of that stuff. So it's important to prevent that. New Jersey always has been a state that cares about others, that we all feel welcome. I'm an immigrant. My mom and my dad, they came from the Dominican Republic years ago, and we felt welcome when we got here. And I wanted to see that continuing. Please, I'm advocating for that. And in regards to what the people that are against or have some hesitations about it because of immigration, they need to dig in a little bit more into the immigration laws, because having an IT number is not a social security number. So that has to be separated. People are confused. Having an IT number is only for tax purposes. That document doesn't give you the right to go and apply for Medicaid. So what are we talking about? I'm very confused, and I think a lot of people are confused as well. I heard the fact of IT number being mentioned multiple times. I don't think people understand what the difference between having an IT number and having a social security number. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any questions for members? Thank all three of you.
I'm going to move on to the next panel, but I would just note we had 2 sign-up slips also from the Ironbound Community Corporation, and per the instructions from Vice Chair Singleton, we're only looking to have 1 representative from each organization, but I'll just note for the record that the sign-up slips for the other representatives from the Ironbound Community Corporation were Malago, it's either Bolana or Blanco, as well as Alejandra Torres. And then moving on to the new sign-up slips, Andre Berger, representing Movimento, and I can't make out the other word if it's there. Is that individual here? Okay. Adrian Brazio? Sound familiar? Anybody go by that name, or is there an Adrian in the room? Perhaps not. Okay. Kimberly Vale, representing In Schools or Inner Schools? Do we have a Kimberly Vale here? Okay. Jorge Torres, National Day Labor Organizing Network, NDLON. Okay. Rabbi Amy Memis Fowler, Religious Action Center, New Jersey. Okay, thank you for that. Jenny Saki, representing Wind of the Spirit, but also indicating representing individual Cranberry, an organization we have not heard from. Waves, okay. Allison Garcia, youth member with El Pueblo Unido of Atlantic City. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Maya Pantone Aronoff, Research for ICE Out of New Jersey Coalition. Wait, okay, thank you very much. And this is the last sign-up slip I have in my hand, Reverend Seth Caper Dale.
So grateful for everybody's testimony. I wait.
Okay, that's the last sign-up slip. Unless, was there somebody who signed up that wanted to testify who I missed? Because I did weed out what I thought were all the duplicate sign-up slips.
You ready to vote?
Okay. That's everybody.
Ready to vote?
That's everybody.
Let's vote. We'll get arrested.
Let's make one up. Why don't we make it at 3:50? Make sure they're here.
Is that it? It's going to pass. It's going to pass.
So, let me first, on behalf of Senator Singleton and Senator Sack, thank each and every one of you for coming down today. Just as you have presented, not only in a very intellectual way, but an emotional way as well, a problem that we in the state of New Jersey have to solve. And I wish the process was perfect. It's not perfect. We, as we're sitting here, the Assembly is adding several very minor amendments, but amendments that they thought were necessary. We haven't yet received them from the Assembly. We're hoping to have them by 3:30. And by the way, no secret amendments. You know, when they come over, we'll read them to you so you can hear them. And I can tell you that from what we know about what's happening on the Assembly side, they are truly minor and truly in the spirit of the bills that are already before you. On the other hand, we're not supposed to pass legislation if you leave gaps or problems or whatever. So they're doing these minor fixes. We're hoping to have them back at 3:30. When they come back at 3:30, we're going to read them to everybody, so everybody knows what we're doing. And hopefully at 3:35, we'll be ready to move ahead with a vote, which from what I'm hearing on this side is going to be pretty positive. That being said, we have to do the process right. If you don't do the process right, you make mistakes, and the mistakes come back to haunt you. So everybody's welcome to be back here at 3:35. We're taking a pause, taking a short break. I'm good. I'm in a judiciary. I'm not chair or vice chair. The chair or vice chair had to go someplace else. So we're doing an immigration bill, and we're waiting for amendments to the Senate. So we're just taking a break. Please.
Sí.
Sounds like an excellent, but you got my attention. We now go to cabinet level higher education. We haven't had a department that's been higher education in a long time. So there's going to be.
Can I interview her real quick? 1 minute. Can I interview her? 1 minute. All right.
Oh, okay. So you're not doing a new department. This was the fallback structure that we've had previously. Great. Listen, please pass along my support. Governor's 100%.
Yeah.
Every one of her pictures is very responsive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
All right. Buenas tardes, querida comunidad. Hemos estado desde la mañana aproximadamente desde las 8:30 aquí en la Casa Estatal. Hemos vuelto, el lunes estuvimos aquí para el voto de la Asamblea. Hoy estamos aquí para el voto del Comité en el Senado. Como ustedes saben, cualquier propuesta de ley tiene que pasar en ambas cámaras o ambos comités. Y esta mañana hemos estado en el Comité Judicial del Senado. Como ustedes pueden apreciar, han cogido una pausa porque tienen que hacer algunos arreglos a la propuesta de ley, pero tenemos aquí una compañera de Pueblo Unido, Alison. Ella se va a presentar y nos va a contar un poquito qué es lo que ha pasado esta mañana y por qué ella está aquí.
Hola, mucho gusto a todos. Me llamo Alison García, soy de Pleasantville, Nueva Jersey y vengo de parte del Pueblo Unido de Atlantic City.
Okay. Alison, cuéntanos un poquito cuál es el propósito de la sesión del Senado esta mañana.
El propósito del Senado esta mañana fue para, es un paquete de 3 bills, no sé cómo se dice en español, pero es un paquete de 3 bills que van a proteger la privacidad de inmigrantes en Nueva Jersey.
Muchas gracias, compañera. También fuera del aire nos habías comentado un poquito la experiencia de tu mami y quizás para las personas que no conozcan mucho la situación, pero sin entrar en detalles, cuéntanos por qué esto es tan personal para ti.
Eso es tan personal para mí porque yo crecí con mi mamá y yo siempre hemos ido juntas. Donde ella vaya, yo también estoy allá a su lado. Así que cada vez es muy importante para mí porque, como les dije, mi mamá fue deportada hace un verano, apenas había cumplido 17 años, así que fue algo muy doloroso para nuestra relación. Ella y yo siempre estábamos juntas y así que yo vine hoy acá para hablar en frente de todas las personas aquí para decirle que esto es muy importante para proteger la vida de los inmigrantes y no nada más los inmigrantes, pero los hijos y todos los hijos y la familia que viene con todo eso.
Muchas gracias. Por último, compañera, ¿qué le dirías a los jóvenes que quizás están mirando la transmisión? Tú como joven que a través de la experiencia que tuviste desafortunada con tu mamá, ahora te has activado. ¿Qué le dirías a los jóvenes?
La cosa más importante que yo he aprendido de esto esta situación, que es muy triste, pero cuando esto había empezado yo me sentía así que no podía hacer nada, o sea, yo me sentía con las ganas de hacer algo, pero como tengo 17 soy menor de edad, así que yo me sentía que no podía hacer nada, pero para todos los jóvenes, no importa la edad que ustedes tengan, siempre hay algo que usted puede hacer. Puede ser una cosa, tienes que encontrar tu gente, siempre hay oportunidades. Lo que les quiero decir es que hablen con todos, todo lo que tengan, porque lo dicen en inglés, pero no sé si lo dicen en español, pero una boca cerrada nunca le dan de comer, así que eso es lo que le digo.
Muchas gracias y suerte y esperamos que pase esto. Muchas gracias. También tenemos aquí a Cristian, ya lo conoce. Cristian es un personaje, más que personaje, una persona súper activada con la comunidad, especialmente en el sur de Nueva Jersey, a través de la organización. Bueno, dejemos que él se presente. Y también, Cristian, cuéntanos un poquito cómo luce el panorama político hoy en Trenton, qué es lo que se espera y realmente si van a pasar la propuesta con cambios, sin cambios. Cuéntanos un poquito.
Ok, buenas tardes, saludos al pueblo. Habla Cristian Moreno Rodríguez, soy director del grupo sin fines de lucro que se llama El Pueblo Unido de Atlantic City. Estamos aquí todos unidos con los compañeros de cosecha, con los aliados de la colación que tenemos a nivel estatal esta tarde. Pues aquí estamos, fue un día muy largo, otro día muy largo. Apenas tuvimos un pauso breve, ojalá, pero apenas terminamos de escuchar de los testigos, los testimonios de aliados, de activistas, de expertos en diferentes carreras, todos a favor de nuestra comunidad inmigrante. Entonces, ojalá que hoy a las 3:30, cuando regresa el Comité del Senado, van a votar para aprobar este paquete de leyes. Son 3 leyes, 3 propuestas, y ojalá lo van a votar afuera del Comité del Senado. Y luego, si ganamos esa votación hoy, todavía tenemos que esperar por si un comité de la Asamblea va a hacer algunos cambios al paquete de leyes que estamos proponiendo. Entonces, a la propuesta queremos pasar los 3 billes que tenemos, las 3 leyes, sin ningún tipo de cambio que va a poder, por ejemplo, sacar tipo de protecciones para nuestra comunidad, que va a cambiar o va a reducir o va básicamente va a cambiar las leyes en contra de nuestra comunidad inmigrante. Entonces, por eso estamos diciendo que queremos que pasen todo de una manera limpia, sin cambios, pero todavía tenemos que esperar hasta las 3:30 de esta tarde. Entonces, a las 3:30 vamos a escuchar de qué tipos de cambios se hicieron con un comité de la Asamblea y luego cómo lo van a pasar aquí en un comité del Senado. Entonces, honestamente, sí está un poquito complicado el proceso para aprobar estas leyes, pero si Dios está con nosotros y todo sale bien esta tarde, todo va a depender del lunes. El lunes vamos a tener la gran votación, donde todo el Senado, toda la Asamblea va a tener que votar para aprobar o rechazar este paquete de leyes. Entonces, si ganamos hoy, esta tarde, regresamos el lunes sin falta con todo el pueblo para luchar para la gran votación final. Entonces, ahí es donde todo el estado de Nueva Jersey tiene que unirse, porque ahí es donde cada representante, cada senador va a tener una oportunidad de alzar su voz o votar a favor o en contra de la ley. Entonces, por eso, si ganamos hoy esta tarde, los compas de cosecha, nosotros de Pueblo Unido, los vamos a mantener actualizados para regresar el lunes sin falta. Entonces, yo sé que mucha gente está viendo todo esto y no saben lo que está pasando. Nos toca educar el pueblo un poquito más también de todo esto, de cómo puede proteger a nuestra comunidad inmigrante estas leyes. Pero todo está pasando muy rápido, de una manera emergencia. Tenemos hasta el lunes para pasar todo, y si no, nos toca intentar todo de nuevo para el próximo año.
Y rápidamente también, for English speaker audience, would you give a quick summary of what's going on today?
Yeah. And so if we could just give a good comprehensive summary. So today we just took a short break. We just finished up in the Senate Judiciary Committee We spent a good several hours hearing from activists, from experts in different careers, such as healthcare, from attorneys. We heard from faith leaders. We heard from our youth members, including Allison. We heard from directly impacted folks. All that in support of the immigrant protection package. It's a set of 3 laws, of 3 bills that we're proposing that would basically do much of what we were asking for in the Immigrant Trust Act, but it's compartmentalized. And so we heard some good feedback from the Senate. Unfortunately, however, we have to wait until 3:30 because there are some possible amendments being done in the Assembly Appropriations Committee. And so we have to wait until the Assembly Appropriations Committee finalizes any possibility. And so if we're able to pass a clean package of bills in both the Assembly Appropriations Committee and the Senate Judiciary, that means it's going to go to a full floor vote as early as Monday. And I say that because Monday is one of the last legislative calendar dates that we have. And so we would have to pass it on Monday, by Monday, to get it signed and hopefully signed into law this legislative session. And so this is a pretty intricate, pretty complicated legislative process. There's a lot of moving parts. Unfortunately, we're on a time crunch. It is lame duck, but we're hoping we can get it done today and then come back to Trenton as early as Monday for the final vote. And that's where we'll need the support of the entire El Pueblo, which is all the people, because then every senator, every assemblyman will have the opportunity to vote for the final vote possibly on Monday. And so that's where we need to coalesce, everyone from South Jersey, North Jersey, Central, talk to your legislators, see where they stand on this issue, see if they stand with the immigrant community.
Listo, muchas gracias, compañero. Thank you very much. We're going to take a pause. Vamos a coger una pausa y volvemos a las 3:30, 3:35 nos han dicho que van a volver al salón para votar finalmente. Esperemos que todo pase bien. Y 3:45, 3:30 we'll be back. Thank you. Gracias, gracias. Gracias, bro. ¿Qué estudió? Sí, Hola, querida comunidad, como dijimos, vamos a coger un break. Los senadores han ido a coger un receso y también todas las personas que estuvieron aquí han ido a la cafetería de la Casa Estatal. Vamos a volver a las 3:35. No voy a apagar la transmisión, sino que lo voy a dejar corriendo, pero ya saben, si no escuchan nada es porque estamos en una pausa y vamos a volver a las 3:30. ¿Ok? Gracias.
Okay, I will, it's for two of our partners who are leaving, so I'll tell them to walk over there.
What time do you think you're going to get home tonight? Wow. Are you salary or hourly?
What's that?
Are you salary or hourly?
Salary. Yeah, I work 40 hours. 40 hours. No, 35 hours. Yeah, because I've been working so well. Monday's work. Monday was late. It was late. 10 o'clock. No, 10:30. Yesterday was 10 o'clock. Tonight probably I'm thinking.
and then we got to stay for the state. It's Tuesday. Well, the assembly. But the governor. No, Murphy's still. Murphy's still, yeah. I think so. My wife goes through a procedure. Got a driver there. It won't take long, but then I got to drive her home, and then I'm good for minutes. They don't start that circus till 4 o'clock anyway.
Yeah, you never told us that. I can imagine.
Oh yeah, you know, it's something that she has to get done. When you, what it is, you know. Kind of start off the new year. Help.
We're applying what we know in this
Typical old white guy. Typical thinking we all look up like I gotta tell you something. I work another job. I work in the security for the sheriff's department. So, in Union County, in Elizabeth, right? So, in uniform. I'm down. I work with the regular clerk officers. I'm downstairs. So. Oh yeah. Oh, I work in the lobby with the security. Right? So this woman, let me go. This person comes up and shaved head, earring, bulky clothes. I'm going to go for jury duty. Oh, too early. The people aren't in yet, right? So I see some of the people from jury management go upstairs and everything. Give them some time, right? So I said, I go, sir, you can go up now, right? So go through the machine. No. This gets good. So it goes upstairs, right? So I'm down, an hour goes by, I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, it comes back down, and there's like a space behind the desk, and she goes like this, by the way, I'm a woman.
Get out.
Strike one. Another one. There's a sheriff's officer. She was security, and now she's a regular sheriff's officer, right? Victoria. Nice girl, right? I see someone standing next to her in the lobby. T-shirt, state police, shaved on the side, coat, combed over. I go, is this your boyfriend? And she goes, it was a female. It was a girl who was her partner. And I said, you know what, that's strike two. So now when I see people come in, I just said, okay, you're next.
No, I'm saying like
Yeah, exactly. That happened within 3 weeks apart. So I was gun shy, you know, and the thing is, you know, we do the harassment stuff, ethnic harassment, all the rest of the BS. And you know, and listen, I don't care. I really don't care what that. But you know what? I try to adjust, you know. I wouldn't buy clothing, by what my appearances. I didn't do it to be malicious or disrespectful. You know, maybe, you know, I just got to be more observant and be able to, like, catch myself there. Instead of, yes, sir, it's, okay, you can go. Is this girl here part of Sam? I know. She walks around like she owns the place. She comes around a lot with some.
I would.
How's your hubby doing? Busy? Yeah. Oh yeah? Was he getting paid? Oh. Oh, wow. That kind of sucked.
¿Cómo estás? Bien.
Yeah.
Hace rato en la mañana.
You know, he should frame that. Oh, that's when the government shut down. That.
Sí, hoy estamos live.
You driving down?
Meet in the middle.
Oh, yeah. We're in North Carolina.
There's that too, right? So much. They want me here. Maybe I think my son did a big out this I told you, I'm out. As soon as they say government officials, I didn't do I was just thinking, like, the other stuff is international. I don't it's like a weird. Yeah, the top money. 2005 and on, right? But really the non-entertainment. So you yep. But now it's like I said, now it's the government is fighting. I bought it like this weekend. It makes your job a lot more easy. Before it was like probably some distribution or Is it a good one? I definitely, like I was telling you though, it's really bad. I'm here. Yeah.
on here now.
No, I mean, what's your name?
You get a lot of good footage and stuff?
Testimonies, and then this is a success that will
I've sent emails.
Yeah.
Is it the old one? Oh, okay. Well, I emailed.
How long have you like been like doing photography? Does anyone show you, or like you learn, or like?
I was self-taught for a camera.
I got that vibe. She's never said anything.
Are you like nervous? Just like, you're like, no, I'm
more excited, but I had a little bit of money saved up on like cost of living back then for me. It was really cheap. I was in El Paso. I wasn't in New Jersey. I didn't have that much money to survive.
It's like way cheaper, right?
I mean, I don't really think my rent was like
That's crazy.
It's not my fault that I don't have a house to myself.
No way. I feel like here, especially like in Monmouth County, like there's one bath.
Like not the.
And I'm like,
I don't know. I think she's.
And obviously, there's been some inflation
yeah.
since like 5-6 years ago, but
She can hurt it.
but generally, you make less money. Salaries are well.
So how'd you like start, I guess, like, like
You know what's crazy? I think I went on vacation after this. I was like, I forgot about it. I told my
She's just like, find stuff that's happening, talking to people.
she was not. I didn't know.
Texas had a bunch of
It's yeah. Looking back, I'm like, I just went into like Texas.
that helps. So I usually sell that. But it has gotten harder. People think a lot of like small publications have like done it, or they don't have the machines. They don't have money to pay for it. So the last couple of years, thanked me. Like I was doing better. So
it's all appreciate harder. I didn't think anything.
how'd you like find out about it?
Whatever. I've been from my job.
It's the skills I really have.
But the whole team was there. That's the other thing. I was like, this wasn't I found out about a long time ago. I applied for a film. You don't ever want to do this, but you know, keep it right up. I think it's not. She just we're stuck. So it's like yeah, and I explained that. I was like, it's
not that, right?
it was very specific.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Like, so
found the past out of the map. You know, it's not like that.
I wanted to ask you
got
about that.
Yeah.
What's her name? Selena?
She fell out of her chair when I was in the and I went to check on her. She was like on the floor. I had to help her up. And I mean, that situation back then, I think in general, she always complained about me. Because she's around she also is very stubborn, especially she's definitely they have that not that way.
I sense when I was working at the a lot of people there, not that.
It's like admitting that's you're the only the strong survive, right? You're really cute. And having she doesn't like this was like nobody.
I don't have any
fanny packs, but I really like.
Coworkers that as a concern that that's
Yeah, but I really love my friends. Like the pets. They don't have any, so then I like go completely over to my neighbor. She has this like big, like very puffy black cat. And yeah, and then just like orange cat. Anytime I sit down, yeah. I didn't know that caliber cats. Yeah. Like, oh, that's interesting. My friend got one. Oh yeah. Hold on. Okay, back.
I like that dog. It's so cute.
Oh, from yesterday. What you said? Yeah, I was like, this is yeah. For what? Yeah. No.
Maybe I have, but they came to that
I'm not a skyler. I just look at him like, well, I mean, I think everyone. I don't know. I feel like I sort of sound reminded me.
She's not from.
I think she might be. I think she actually might be. I always forget. Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I always thought she was like Central America. And then I was like, wait.
He was doing it because he sat down with going to work.
I was about her about his life.
Wait, is she a social worker? It's not you yet, right? Yeah.
It wasn't. I think it's also having like
Oh, I see.
And then the other idea I talked to her before, and that when I reached out,
Oh, really?
They ran.
I feel like I'm pretty good at memorizing. No, like employees, but it was like a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's so. So I always like connect someone with
It's the easiest thing to say. It's easier to it's all for the same language.
Remember when you like
Why are there some legal staff that
you know, I don't know that. I don't know that she's because like I always thought the social worker was
they're also split?
yeah, I know. It's kind of like, oh, like why? I thought it was because of like, where's my social worker? It was because like it's the one that funded. It's like
She is. One of
Yeah, that this is it. Definitely.
The elevator. I know, I feel like I'm like, why is this I think because I like procrastinate. But I mean, I'm just the officer of every day. You're like, the cat. I feel like Daniel like is doing now. He's kind of like leading like
And I also think that's
or is it one? Yeah.
I decided this is my entire
Yeah, she was good. First time I went to the New office,
but I'm not biting.
I was freezing because it was summer. And she gave me my prayer mat. I was like to cover myself. It was small, but it kept me like, yeah, I was like, just enough to like, and I was like, okay. And she made one time gave me this like, on like the last, the summer and she brought this to me. I brought home the water. I was like, no one's gonna take more. It was so good. It was like at first, if I'm being honest, it doesn't look bad. It looks like it's like black. It's black. But the black stuff was like this black. It was whatever it was. So I'm bringing this home.
Is her family house?
No, she's but she's like Jesus Christ. She was organized like made a calendar on there. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You're like, why not? Oh, wow. I'm trying to think because her mind knows a person. She doesn't touch herself. But, and she only has access to the IRB. You can make it private. Like, there's like a setting. I can want to tell you, I'm like, you know, I can I did a lot of my stuff. Depends on the rule that was launched. Right. Because of our
so that it's at least public record, but we anticipated starting at 3:30, and we will not be. So just asking you for your continued patience. I apologize, but we are waiting for our colleagues in the Assembly to have some changes with us. So for my friends in the room whose English is not their first language, I'm going to try my best with this. Mujeres y hombres, gracias por así sencilla. Todo día estamos esperando por las revisiones de la Asamblea. Planeamos a continuar en una hora más o menos.
Thank you. Ok, compañeros, compañeras, como han oído ahora, vamos a esperar. Habían dicho que a 3:30 iban a poder volver, pero ahora nos dicen que todavía están evaluando las propuestas de ley y van a venir en una hora, son a las 4:30. Están apuntando ahora a las 4:30, vamos a hacer una pausa, vamos a volver en vivo a las 4:30. They just came out, they said that it's going to take an extra hour to review the bills, so we'll be back in 1 hour at 4:30. Hopefully they have started and the vote could happen at 4:30. Thank you.